All right, hey there, this is Kevin Sembeluk with Sunbelt Business Brokers here in Edmonton. Today we are going to learn about vendor takeback. Um, and what does it mean? What does it look like? So today we're going to have Ish from Sunbelt Edmonton who is going to explain what vendor takeback is.
Super. Thank you, Kevin. What I'm going to do right now is we had a client reach out to us. It's a shop that we're selling, auto shop. The buyer is super interested in buying. We're selling this thing for asking price is 400,000. So let's say this is the shop. We're asking 400. Normally, what we would do is, get the buyer to bring in, say 150. Okay, so this is brought in as a down payment from the buyer, and then we would get a bank loan. Let's say for 350. Okay, so you got a bank here. Now, sometimes you might have more than one bank in that combination. So let's say, same scenario, same setup. Buyer still puts 150, and now we will have, let's say, a bank come in for, let's say, 200. There's still a gap of, I think I screwed up my math. But anyway, this should be 250. This should be 100. And then 150 is still short. So let's say bank wants to do only 100,000. Okay? They won't do 250. Because this 150 plus 250 makes it 400. Okay, just math. Just stay with me here. So, how the hell do you do the deal? Buyer wants to buy, seller wants to sell, and mainly because the buyer has limitations, what he can do. Bank has limitations because of the buyer or what the situation could be. So one of the ways you could do something is do a seller carryback. Or vendor take back. So now that this is the first bank, this is the second bank. Basically, your seller becomes the second bank. Okay, the amount depends on the seller and their capacity. Most probably won't. So let's say bank is charging 6%. You could do this one at 6%. Okay. The requirements with most of these loans is a 7-year loan. I would say 5 to 7 years. The bank wants to get paid first. Okay? They will not have this buyer pay this loan off. It's a second, basically, like a second mortgage. They won't allow this to be paid first. They want to get paid first. After this, they will allow interest-only payments. Okay, so this might be too much. So what we can do is push the bank or figure out financing piece where we would say, you know what, we will do still 150 from the buyer, and let's say we can ask seller might be comfortable doing 100, and then the gap is 150. That would make it 400 total in the deal, right? So this might be a doable deal. Again, bank might shoot for 7% versus 6% on a smaller loan. It's a risk and reward for the bank, and the seller might still be happy with the 6% interest-only payments. So this would be $6,000 per year, interest-only payments, which is about $500 a month. Okay, and at the end, let's say the deal was, let's say a bank is willing to do a 7-year deal here. Okay, So for 7 years, as a seller, because you were doing a vendor take back, you will get $500 a month for 7 years. At the end of the 7th year, when this loan is all paid off, basically you become the first lender, or your payment is due, all in one shot. So this buyer has to save a ton of money during what he's doing over 7 years to really pay you off as the old seller. Issue is, well, what happens if this guy packs his bags and leaves? You can secure yourself, just like the bank would, where if he goes or misses a payment, you have recourse. You can take the building, you can take the business, sorry, not the building, the business. Bank is in the same spot, they lose money, your money's at risk. Depends on the buyer. Some have good credit, some don't, some have assets, some don't, so it is a little risky. But at the same time, you got 150, you got 150 here, you got $300,000 at closing, you're risking 100. If they default, you come back and take the business and run it for a couple more years, rebuild it and sell it again. So, not an ideal situation, but that's one way to skin the cat. So, all those numbers are flexible based on the buyer, the seller, what is their capacity in terms of, I can handle this, yes. At the same time, if you're asking, let's say $400,000 for your business, you'll end up getting full retail. So because you're doing this, they can't squeeze you on price, because you're giving them terms. In the world here, you can have price or terms, but not both. Okay, pick one. At the same time, when you have a structure like this, think about a bank. Bank feels good because a previous owner is in the game, they got skin in the game, and the buyer has skin in the game. From a bank's point of view, it looks really good. They feel comfortable because their risk is mitigated with you. And the buyer has pretty decent skin in the game. I mean, if he's going to screw up or run the business into the ground, he'll lose 150, bank lose 150, and bank will chase him, and then you chase him, and that would be the last deal the buyer would do basically for a long time. But of course, it is risky for the seller. So that's the trade-off. As a seller, you have to decide, can I handle this if I took a hit? And on average in businesses, there's usually about 20% carryback, or a little bigger, crazy times. If the interest rate here was 18%, you couldn't do the damn deal. So you would have to do something to make the deal work if you want cash in your hands. I hope this explains a little detail in terms of what this thing looks like. As a seller carryback or vendor take back, you're basically a second bank. Your security is as much as the bank's, and you can ask for personal guarantee from this buyer. If they default, you have a recourse. Of course, it gets messy, but you get to meet the buyer ahead of time. You need to gauge them out, saying, can you really do business with this buyer? Do you really think they're going to pay you? All of those you got to do as a seller. Us as a broker, our job is to structure deals that is a win-win for both you guys. And if it doesn't feel good, you don't do it. And we look for the next buyer. All right? Talk to you later.